We have updates from the Eagles practice yesterday where a bunch of their injured players were back on the field. Great news there. Bad news for Fletcher Cox. He gets an epidural and is probably out for Sunday's matchup against the Rams. And listen to what Jalen Carter had to say about playing against Aaron Donald on Sunday. I'm Thomas Mott. This is the Thomas Mott Show. Now, most of the show is going to be about the good injury updates coming in just a couple of minutes. Let's start with the one bad one, and that is Fletcher Cox. He did not participate in practice yesterday, and Ian Rappaport says it's because he had an epidural. Listen to this, quote, Eagles defensive lineman Fletcher Cox underwent an epidural injection procedure this week to alleviate discomfort he'd been experiencing in his back over the past couple of weeks, sources said. If he has to miss any time, the expectation is not more than one game, and quote. This is interesting, right? We had no idea that Fletcher Cox was dealing with back injuries, just going ahead and popping up now. If you think of epidural, you think, giving birth, that giant needle that goes into your spine. He must be having some serious discomfort back there. The good news is, if he misses a game, it's just one. The thing to keep an eye on, though, is Fletcher Cox is not getting any younger. Some people think it could be his last year in the National Football League. Putting him on maybe a more restrictive play time or pitch count, and maybe more available later on in the year, most likely the postseason, when you really want Fletcher Cox to be at his best. And just because I said Fletcher Cox is getting a little bit older, he's not seen any sort of regression on the field. He's been fantastic so far this season. Thumbs up to the hopes that Fletcher Cox continues along this line, but also gets healthy sooner rather than later. Now, in terms of the good practice news, there were a lot of Eagles who have been out back on the field just yesterday. First of which, no Cam Jurgens, still in a walking boot. So here's a look at Cam Jurgens' replacement, Sua Opeta, getting some practice reps next to Lane Johnson, standing there at right guard, where he's probably going to match up a lot against Aaron Donald. Also worth noting, look who's getting some center snaps as well. It's Landon Dickerson, because you forget, Dickerson was a center at times in college and is now the backup center behind Kelsey with Cam Jurgens being out. Now, the Eagles' entire offensive line is going to have their hands full. They take on Aaron Donald. Anytime you play him, it's going to be very tough. But I'm confident that Sua Opeta, who was really good filling in last week, can continue that strong performance and hold down the right guard spot. Now, other good news, you see Justin Evans on your screen. He is back at practice after missing the last game with a neck injury and in full pads, if I might add. That is great news for all Eagle fans. Looks like Evans is going to go ahead and get back out on the field as one of the two starting safeties alongside Reed Blankenship. The surprise out of training camp is that he was named the starter, and he was pretty darn good till the injury happened. Excited to see what he can do against what is going to be a very vaunted Rams passing attack. Now, the other star safety we all want to see have more playing time is Sidney Brown, and Brown missed this past game as well. Well, there he is next to Nolan Smith, who's got a couple more reps as well at the outside linebacker spot. Brown is in pads. That means he is going to play. Thumbs up for seeing Sidney Brown, and the rest of these Eagles, again, looking very, very healthy. Not to be outdone, another hamstring injury. How about Quez Watkins? You see him there with pads on, running some routes and working out at practice yesterday. Quez Watkins is also going to be able to play on Sunday. Philadelphia, I'm telling you, they got everybody back, and it's great we have practice footage as well of all of them running around, looking healthy, and looking good to go against, again, a really tricky, I'm kind of saying maybe even a trap game against a pesky Rams team. Now, before we get into Jalen Carter facing what he hopes to become in Aaron Donald on Sunday, how about this insane promo we have running right now with BetMGM? If you've been using DraftKings or FanDuel, fantastic betting sites, and I obviously have DraftKings links, but BetMGM has a $1,500 paid back first bet offer in bonus bets if you don't win, up to $1,500. This is a crazy, crazy deal. If you've never used BetMGM and you want to have essentially a $1,500 paid back in bonus bets if you don't win guarantee, use my link down below. One, it helps the channel out a lot. I mean, you just sign up for it, place that first bet, and again, if your bet doesn't hit, you get up to $1,500 in bonus bets paid back if you don't win. Link down below right now. Jalen Carter, Aaron Donald. The crazy part is, Jalen Carter has done it with 85 fewer snaps than Donald has, yet only trails him by a couple of pressures. Now, Jalen Carter was asked about his first matchup, and even though they don't technically play against each other on the defensive line versus defensive line, but the guy that we all hope that he becomes in Aaron Donald, listen to what Carter had to say.
Oh, yeah, yes, sir. Probably chop it up about anything that he could give to me as a rookie, and I'll probably take a picture with him too.
I love it. Clearly, he's been modeling his game after Aaron Donald. If he can become 80% of what Aaron Donald is, he's going to be a future Hall of Famer. And I love the idea of getting a picture with him, picking his brain a little bit, and overall just having a great time meeting what probably is one of his icons in the National Football League. Now, it is interesting in terms of Defensive Rookie of the Year. Christian Gonzalez, this really, really impressive cornerback drafted for the Patriots, about 17, middle of the draft in April. He is done for the year with a season-ending injury, and he right now was kind of the only real threat to Jalen Carter to win Defensive Rookie of the Year. And while we wish him the best, I thought he was fantastic in his game against Philadelphia. Jalen Carter's chances of winning Defensive Rookie of the Year might have gone up a little bit with Gonzalez going down for the year. Now, at practice yesterday, we also got our first look at new Eagles nickel cornerback Bradley Roby, who is wearing number 33. I'm curious where you guys are at on the number 33 for a nickel guy. Not a big fan. He said he wasn't a big fan, but only real number that was available for him. But he looks good out there, getting some reps in with the rest of the Eagles secondary. He was asked about his expectations, not only playing both inside and outside at cornerback, but playing alongside some really, really good other players in James Bradbury and Darius Slay. Let's do his first media scrum as a Philadelphia Eagle.
I've been playing that since Super Bowl year, second year, first my rookie year. So I've just always had that ability to play both. I think the difference is more happens inside, there's more thinking, things happen faster, more space to cover. So it might be a little tougher, but on the outside it's also hard because you're one-on-one and it's just you and another guy with a lot of space. And great quarterbacks and great receivers. So they're tough, they're equally tough in their own way, and different footwork and eye progressions you have to go through, but it's not that big of a deal to shoot that.
Now, I'm super pumped about Bradley Roby. I was a massive Roby fan back when he was a Denver Bronco. I always wanted the Eagles to sign him in the offseason, but remember the Texans got him just a couple of years ago. I don't know how good he is right now. Like, I know he played last year and there's film to watch, but where is he at in terms of his health? He says he's 100%. The Eagles obviously believe in him. I hope he exceeds my expectations, but I'm trying to temper them just a little bit, especially if he does see the football field on Sunday after being elevated from the practice squad. Now, one final injury note, Nakobe Dean, who is eligible to come off of injured reserve next week. He was seen at practice yesterday, although working on a separate field because he's technically on IR. Didn't have a helmet, didn't have pads, but he's getting closer and closer to coming back, which sets up a very interesting dynamic for the Eagles linebacker room after Zach Cunningham and Nicholas Morrow have been fantastic. Well, Sean Desai was asked about Morrow yesterday, and he said this, quote, "I think he's communicated really well in the field. That's a big job for the green dot guy. Make sure the calls get out." He's doing a great job of that. He's taking ownership of it. He's being loud and that he's reacting well. He's trusting his instincts and trusting the game plan and trusting the coaching that Coach Elliott and Coach Carter have given him to go ahead and make plays and to take shots when he can, end quote. Now, obviously, he's not going to reveal if he's going to stay as the starting linebacker when Dean comes back or give the job back to Nakobe Dean. I don't know what to do here because I understand the expectations are that Dean, much better in coverage, kind of the expectation was he would be the starting linebacker this entire year, and he played well, at least for the limited amount of time he was out there, and he was the better linebacker in camp. But do you give it up after Nicholas Morrow had a career game just this past week and might be able to have an even better one on Sunday against the Rams? Where are you guys at on the linebacker spot? Can we just rotate all three in there? It's going to be very, very interesting to see how Desai handles this if and when Dean is ready to go, maybe next week against the Jets. And we have plenty more stuff happening in the next couple of days and weeks. I'm also about to hit 20,000 subs, which if we do it in this video, do it in the next video, huge thank you to everybody for getting me to 20,000 subscribers in a little less than a year. I started kind of, middle to the end of October this past year, in 2022. Now we're at 20K. I'm stunned, and the numbers have been insane. Cannot thank you guys enough for getting me to 20,000 subs. I can only hope for more, but I'm very grateful for where we're at right now and grateful for you guys watching my show every single day. I'm Thomas Mott. This has been The Thomas Mott Show.